The president of Turkey said today his government will do everything it can to punish those responsible for the Sabbath massacre at a synagogue in Istanbul. But it's still not completely clear how many gunmen carried out the slaughter or if any of them escaped. More now from CBS News correspondent Alan Pizzi in Turkey.
The Neve Shalom Synagogue is being cleaned up in preparation for the funeral Wednesday of the 21 people killed when gunmen attacked worshippers here at the weekend. There are few clues to the identity or motives of the killers, and confusion remains as to how many there were. Turkish police said 2 terrorists blew themselves up, but there are indications here that other suspects may have been arrested. The only eyewitness, a 17-year-old boy whose father died, said there may have been more than 2 Arabic-speaking gunmen. What is clear here is anger. The massacre is being viewed by officials and ordinary Turks alike as an attack on Turkey, not just another blow against Jews and Israel. Muslim Turkey is proud of the fact that Jews have lived here unmolested for 500 years. The government is expected to send high-level representation to the mass funeral. Israel wanted to send a cabinet minister, but Turkey objected. The government here maintains the victims were Turkish citizens and were Jews by religion, not nationality. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Istanbul.
President Zia of Pakistan today praised his troops' handling of Friday's Pan Am hijacking. Zia said he doesn't believe the statement by his own aviation chief that it was 15 minutes from the time the hijackers started shooting until Pakistani troops came aboard. Survivors say the troops played no role in freeing them, that passengers saved themselves by scrambling out an emergency exit. The death toll now stands at 19. CBS News correspondent Lem Tucker reports from Karachi.
Tonight, Jose Alvarez died. He was shot in the head during the hijacking and never came out of a coma. And the investigation into the hijacking continued, with sources here saying the first of the 4 hijackers arrived about 3 weeks ago. The last came the day before the attack. So police are now looking for local contacts who might have harbored them. At least 1 hijacker is known to have stayed at this downtown hotel. They rented a van from this agency and later used it to crash an airport barrier. All 4 men are reported to be Palestinians. As it becomes clear that no Pakistani rescue operation took place, the government of General Zia is embarrassed and is now talking a tough, unyielding line.
We have no extradition treaty, to the best of my knowledge, with the United States of America, so they cannot go. We have now a very effective law, the punishment of which is death sentence.
There is no reason to believe that Pakistan will waver in its long support of the Palestinian cause. But President Zia is clearly serving notice that that does not include hijackings on his home ground. Lem Tucker, CBS News, Karachi.
Who are the casualties? The waves of terrorism roll and break, and in their wake they leave the dead and the wounded. We mourn the dead and comfort the wounded. But as CBS News correspondent Bruce Morton reports, the waves of terrorism roll on, and their casualties are beyond number.
We know who the victims are. These young people in California mourning the death of a grandfather in a synagogue in Istanbul. These Long Islanders mourning Syed Nasser Ahmed, dead in Karachi, Pakistan. We have all grown used to seeing the victims and the survivors. Abdullah Khatri survived to hung relatives in Birmingham. We've all grown used to the images of violence. But in a wider sense, terror claims other victims. Terror's object is terror, the disruption of normal life.
You know, these things happen when proper action is not taken against hijackers.
Item, India's Rajiv Gandhi says Pakistan's Zia bungled the hijacking. Result, discord between 2 countries which coexist uneasily. Item, Ariel Sharon says Istanbul wouldn't have happened if Prime Minister Peres hadn't cozied up to moderate Arabs. Discord among Israel's political parties. Item, Dictator Pinochet survives an assassination attempt. It will make it easier for him to use more force, for the revolutionary left to answer with force again. The losers are the Chileans hoping for peaceful democratic change. Item, the Soviet Union, which has sometimes practiced state terrorism, holds an American reporter. Victims could include hopes for arms control or for a summit meeting. The victims are the men and women of reason and goodwill, the ones who want compromise, not bombs.
The process of diplomacy is victimized by terrorism. There's an old adage in diplomacy, the time is on the side of the diplomat.
The terrorists of whatever movement are for chaos, against order. Some victims of the Holocaust gathered at the Statue of Liberty this weekend and compared new terror and old.
Bombings It used to be a daily occurrence for us every day.
Will the violence ever end?
We hope so. Not in our lifetime. I don't think so.
It is an old war and likely to go on. Bruce Morton, CBS News, New York.